All right, so if you've never used Reason before, you download it, you go through the entire process, you open it, you do what you have to do to get it installed, restart it, turn it back on. Once you set up your username and your password, you have this screen. So if you have any questions, please let me know. We're going to go through the actual opening up process. So typically when you open Reason 12, um, they ask for an update. Typically you'll see something that says update on top, right? So if it's not, don't worry about it. If it is, you just click on the download button, wait for it to download, restart it, and it starts right up. So I just want to walk through some of the basic interface with Reason. Okay, so when you open it up, you have a selection of built-in devices to your left. You have the core drum designer, you have the redrum drum computer, Dr. Octo Rex loop player, the Europa shape-shifting synthesizer, Mimic creative sampler, grain sample manipulator, Thor polysonic synthesizer, Thor analog synthesizer, the Maelstrom gang table synthesizer, monotone bass synthesizer, the ID8 instrument device, the rhythmic drum machine, the radical piano, the clang tuned percussion, the Humana vocal ensemble, NNXT advanced sampler, NN19 digital sampler, and you have the MIDI out device. Okay, so also Reason has its studios. So a lot of these are purchased. So I'm not even going to get into those. I'm just going to focus on the basics because if you're just using Reason for the first time, this is pretty much what you have at your disposal. So I'm going to walk you through some of the basics of the program. So right away you see the browser, right? You click on the browser. You see the instruments appear and disappear. You have an option to click on instruments. There's an up arrow, a search, right? You can click all locations or just stay in current location. We're going to stay in current location for now. You have options on the side. So there's a music icon, okay, which are the instruments. There's the effects, if you just want to see the effects from Reason. Again, the further you go down, you're going to see some of the things I purchased, right? So we're just going to stick with the generic plugins from Reason. Scroll down, you see all the ones they offer, and we'll go into each one, one step by step. Okay, I'm going to explain every single one of these step by step eventually, but this is just the introduction video, so you know how to get started. So now we're going to go from the effects, and we're going to go down to the utilities. So in the utilities, you're going to see the combinator, the pulsar duo LFO, RPG8 monophonic aggregator, the matrix, pattern sequencer. This is something I used to use a lot when I first started using Reason. Spider audio merger and splitter, the Spider CV merger and splitter. We have the Mixer 14.2. This is also something I used to use a lot, and then eventually transitioned over into the Line Mixer. And then you have the mix channel, and then you have the basic audio tracks. So I'm going to go back to the um, effects because I didn't name them, right? So you have the quartet, chorus, ensemble. You have the sweeper modulation effect. You have the pulverizer demolition. You have the echo, the alligator filter gate, the screen for distortion. This is also another thing I used a lot and played with. The BV512 digital vocoder. You have the RV7000, which is something I play with as well. The MK2 reverb, the Neptune pitch adjuster, soft tube amp. And again, a lot of these are ones I purchased, so I don't want to go into all of them. But when you get a chance, just look at them, play with them. I like to go step by step with each one because I'm going to do that eventually, so you can better understand how they work and how to best play with them. So again, it goes into more and more effects, right? So let's see, we have the delays, we have the filters. Okay, so now that we've gone over the actual instruments, we've gone over the effects, and we've also gone over the utilities, at least to some degree. Let's go right into um, I would say, obviously the players, right? Like you can play music through these things. So you have the scales, the chords, the beat map, the dual arpeggiator or arpeggio, the note echo, and then also these are extra ones I purchased, right? The polystep sequencer, quad note generalizer, all right? So you have the basic steps on the side, and you can actually save some of these. So if you want to get the basic Reason sounds and you want to create maybe some beats based off sounds opposed to just going right into the instruments, you can do that as well. So you have the, let's do that. I'm not even gonna do that. Maybe for the next video I'll do that. But right now I'm just gonna kind of go through the basics, right? So you have the drums. You can pick anything you want. Okay. Go to the next one again. Brass, harp, mallets, percussion, strings. I love strings. I love to get started with strings for some reason. Um, Also, you have the all effects, combinator patches, mimic patches, right? So we're gonna play with these in different order. Usually, I just come right in and pick up an instrument and just start creating. Okay. Um, so let's go to the next one. We have more options: the bass drum, snare, hi hat, cymbals, right? Scroll down. So these are some of the things I've created: the R&B, pop, percussion, hip hop, right? Where do you want to get started? Okay. So all right, we're gonna go right into the so let's just do that. I'm just going to read some of the actual names. The threeplex, advanced triple. So it's so much. I don't even want to bog you down, but just come in here and click on one of them and just try to get started randomly if you're just having problems with creativity. These are basic files, right? More basic files, different things I've named. Um, Assigned samples, unassigned samples, and star, right? So now that we've got the basic browser we went through, we just touched everything. You can eventually come in and do the same thing. Again, you have the instruments, the effects, the utilities, and the players, right? So those are probably the main things. And then you can also just come in here as well to click. So let's get out of the browser for a second. Let's go into the rack. Well, actually, we're in the mixer now. So let's go into the rack. I like the rack. Typically, when I think of reason, I think of the rack because that's where I see the instrument. So one of the things I do is I usually just click here, click Add Instrument. Now you can add an audio track, a mix channel. You can create an instrument if you want, create an effect, create send, or just go right to an instrument. So or effects, utilities, or player. Right? You can go right into a player and just get started if you want. So let me get outside of. Let me see. What else do I need to go over in the rack? Okay, master section, RV7000 MK2, all first plate. So, all right, so we're gonna come outside of the rack for a minute. Now this part is the sequencer. This is the sequencer. This is where you plug it in. So whatever you're playing, it'll play right here. You can set how you want it to be. You can make it from 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 1 to 17, whatever your heart desires. You come up here and change the bar, how much space is in between, which makes it a little more easier or more detailed for you to be able to make those extra cuts, right? Those extra clean cuts between. So it depends on what you want. I typically leave it on bar. So I'm going to do a general run through of sequencer, rack, mixer, and I'm going to come back and focus on each area in detail. Okay, so this video is going to be the first in a series of every video I can imagine to actually give you a run through with reason. Any little thing I haven't learned myself, I'll play with it and I'll be able to interpret it to give it to you so you have it. Okay, so we're in the sequencer, right? You got these different things you can use, and again, I'll cover this more when I go in detail with each specific area. So let's get out of the sequencer. We're in the mixer. The mixer also, this is really interesting. So what I like to do, I like to go into, um, not window, but I like to actually go into options, right? And in options, I'll be able to, no, it's not actually options, it's window. That's what I said before. So you'd be able to detach. Now I have multiple windows. You're seeing me under one camera, but I have one here, and I have one here, and then I have to have them in different areas so I can play with them. So a lot of times I'll just detach the main mixer and it'll leave here and it'll go to another screen, or I'll detach the rack window and it'll do the same. It makes it easier for me to just visually see it because I'm a visual learner, right? So it's that much easier. So all right, now that we went through that basic, we went through the mixer to some degree. Again, we'll do more detail, the rack, the browser, right? Um, and let's see, I think that's pretty much it for now, right? So I'm just gonna kind of let's see, let me open that. Yes. So I'm going to conclude this first video. We're going to call this a general walkthrough, which is really basic. It's up to like 10 minutes. I'll just walk you through visually so you know what it feels like to play with Reason when you open it up. I haven't gotten even into the instrumentation. If you want to set up your piano, you want to set up your drums, where you go. So I'll definitely do that in another video. Thank you for tuning in.